So, because some of you have asked me before to share an experiential example of of using the tool for mindful integration. So so life is a projection. So we receive what we project. We live our conditioning. So if our conditioning is very hidden, we really believe that things are happening to me and that all that is projected at me is coming from the outside. But when you start to be conscious that your projection is your reflection, like you are projecting something in the field and you receive your old conditioning, you start to be very aware of your mechanism and the mechanism of mind that is keeping you stuck in smallness. So one of the like we each have our different mechanism because our body mind has been programmed in different configuration depending on our family, our personality, our place of birth, culture. But the mechanism in itself is quite similar at the same time. So it's unique, but it has very commonality with shame, smallness, hiding joy, standing in the light is shameful. There are some commonality, like taking care of others, needing to be seen, recognized, needing to help, to feel connected. All of these are mechanism of separation. So when these mechanisms, they start to be more clear in awareness, you can start to see yourself in motion doing it. So one of the mechanism that is breaking more and more in myself is the collapse of the need to alleviate the suffering of others. In my story, if you've watched my story from this realization that came 2 years ago, like if I'm not my thought, then there is awareness of thought. And then I'm not the me. The mind is a program that is preventing the being to live in freedom, in happiness, in abundance, in the Garden of Eden. So when you start to see that this is just a program, this is not me, this is not my true self, this is a program that is keeping my true self small, you start to look at the program with a great interest and curiosity. So one of the program that I inherited is when I don't know, maybe it's our soul journey. When I came into the world, when Julie body was born and when awareness started to identify with being this person, the program that was very alive in my system is I have to alleviate the suffering of dad. And I need to be ashamed of my light and my joy so that I don't hurt dad. I have to, so the program is I have to stay small and be ashamed of my light and joy to protect myself from being attacked. It's not that dad was attacking me, but it was wrong. It was felt as wrong to be in joy, in light, in playfulness. It's as if like the belief was I'm doing something wrong. So I have to stay small. I have to pretend and I have to protect myself from being attacked. So what does it give me to protect myself from being attacked? It gives me that I won't feel ashamed. So if I am ashamed of my light and joy, I will dim myself to smallness so that I don't feel this shame. Because when in my field, if I express love and joy and I'm reflected some comment, and it's great, I mean, it's just my conditioning talking back to me. And and you are the self too. So when you speak in the field, you receive invitation into your old conditioning. So if I start to feel more light and more joy and I express it, some projection that are entering the field here will be about an invitation and feeling ashamed of that. And if I have cleared my shame, I can decline the invitation in defending myself. But if I have not cleared the shame, I will defend myself. I will feel the need to defend myself, and I will spend time defending myself. So at some point, you see yourself doing it. So you start to question, is it really what I really want to do with my energy and my time? Because we resource in the self in deep sleep. And when the body awake in the morning, we have a certain amount of energy and time to create the life that we want to live. But if that amount of energy and time is spent in defending myself because I feel ashamed of my light, then this is the life that I'm seemingly creating for myself. But if I clear the shame, I can answer to the comment with authenticity without denying myself my love and joy. I can change my voice. I can embody different aspect of self, meaning I can put the comment in the trash if I don't like it. If I'm disturbed and there's turbulence inside myself, I can use the comment as a mirror to what has not been seen. And if I am honest and thirsty for truth, I will receive this as a blessing to free more. That's when it starts to become fun and joyful to look at the trigger, because you know if something is triggering in my system, there is a belief, there is still something triggering. So it's totally fine to look at it again and again. It's not over, it's not done. Because the more freedom you feel, the more opportunity come into your life, and the more you can reveal if there are some block. It's just that there are less and less block. And the more conscious they are, the less power they have on the being. And at some point, you're looking at the same thing over and over again. It's always the same. Like my basic program is I have to make my dad happy by being sad with him, to have his love, to receive his love. It's not his fault. It's not my fault. It's just the way the configuration was programmed here. But this program has to break. So that's the liberation. That's when your projection, what you embody in the form of energy, changes. And that's when your reflection, what's being reflected back at you, changes, because you live in the reality of your own vibration frequency. Everything that appears in your reality is either it's your old conditioning asking you if you still want to participate in it, or it's your own vibration level. And it's not to say that level are good and bad. It's not a hierarchy. It's more that you can start to feel, does that have a resonance with my vibration frequency? And you can also be discerning that those that are speaking in your field that have a higher vibration frequency is your new self. It's like you have your old self still lingering around. You have your actual self, which is quite clearer and clearer, and you have your new self that is saying, hey, look, this is possible too. And if you're not closed and open to receive, because open to receive is grace, if you stay open to receive, you continue to receive more clarity and dissolve more falsity. So realization, that's why I always say it's a path and it's a non-path. It's not a path because at some point you realize that the one that is trying to awake doesn't exist. So you realize that There is no, you're walking and suddenly there is no one walking, there's just walking. But it doesn't matter if you feel that you are the me still that is walking. It's totally fine. It's the mind looking at itself, like questioning, is that really true? Do I really need this? Do I really need that? And as you do this, the sense of separation dissolve. And sometimes there is a realization that is quite clear, but the solidity and the contraction of the me still is happening. So then it's like an opening and a closing. And then at some point it stays open. That's when the heart open and stay open. But there is still blind spot. There are still, you know that there is no separation, but you still adopt the idea that there is. And even when you know there is no separation, you still have blind spots. So you want to be super, super curious, super open. It's like it becomes an adventure of revealing the self. It's like it's hiding and it's revealing and it's hiding. And you want to be curious to embody different aspects of self, to look at everything in humility. You cultivate humility and wisdom because that keeps the mind bowing down to God. And and the more you do this, the lighter it becomes, and the more abundance, love, and joy is entering your life effortlessly, because as you remove the block of it by looking at it consciously. So there is no end point, because if you adopt an end point, you limit it. There is no end point, there is no closing, there is no beginning, and there is no end. It's a constant flux and movement of more freedom. And the question becomes, how can I trust myself even more? How can I love myself even more? Because trust myself and trust life is the same thing. Life is your guru. So it's showing you what is not aligned in your system. Life is your guru. You thank you, thank you, thank you for showing me. So there is no more pointing the finger outside of me, like this is your fault. It's no, there's no one out there. There's no one causing it. It's your reflection you're looking at all the time. And how can I love myself more? Is how can I love life more? Because I am that. I am that life. So it really becomes like at some point, it gets thinner and thinner, the veil, and it becomes like this little, if there's a little friction, it feels awful. So it has to be looked at because it's here. It cannot be denied, cannot be put under the rug. Oh, it's not really here. Like if there is something that has a friction and sadness or shame or smallness, it's impossible to carry it anymore. It becomes impossible to make believe that this will go away and it's not my fault. You stop, like there's no more victim consciousness. You step into your full responsibility, taking full responsibility for any suffering that is appearing in yourself, and looking at it and opening the heart to love the mind. Be curious. What does it say? What does it want to say? What does it want to communicate? Love the mind. Be curious about the mind. It's not going to help to make believe like I'm not going to think and I'm going to meditate more, so I'm going to be more free. It's like at some point you lose this idea that this bliss will suddenly come over you and you will be saved. You've got to save yourself, in fact, because you are already the power. So there's no one that's going to save you. You use tools to save yourself. And then you realize that you don't need to be saved, because the only thing you can do is adopt limitations that are not true. But when you still do it, use the tool to find out why. Why am I trying to alleviate the suffering of someone else? Why am I hiding my light? Because I need to protect myself. What do I need to protect myself of? Self-judgment? Anger? Why am I afraid of anger? Why am I taking upon myself the suffering of others? So you can stand in the light without shame, without guilt, without any smallness. The gift tastes so good that you're ready to do anything to savor the gift of unlimitedness. So one of the things that I want to bring in my message is also intention and the power of intention and action. Because if you want to realize truth, but you only think about it, it's not going to be possible to live it. So you have to implement. So what I love is you integrate as you go. You start to change some patron and you test the field. And you see how you feel. Like if you feel guilt, you allow yourself to feel the guilt without judging yourself. It's like an exploration of the dissolution of the density. And you need to take some action in your life to live the gift, not only to realize it in your mind, to realize it in your body, to live the gift. So set some intention. What are your intention? And what will you pay attention to for the next 3 or 4 days? And you take action to step out of this cocoon that you have. Maybe you have a cocoon, and even if it's a big cocoon, it's still a cocoon. You want to step outside of it. It's like the butterfly. At some point, it's the old self, the me, the small self, dies in the cocoon, in its own glue. And then the cocoon start to open. And even if the cocoon is very comfortable, like the realization is, there is effortlessness and I can live in effortlessness and I can do nothing. It's totally fine to live in the cocoon, but maybe there's something in you that wants to step out of the cocoon and test the field. Maybe I would like to play with this. Maybe I would like to experience that, because we're here to live the dream, not to hide from the dream. And when self-realization came for me, what was very, very, very clear, and that's why my website is called Truth Bakery, is that we can bake our life from the foundation of truth, which is never changing. This infinite love is never changing. This invisible self that we all are, pure, pure, pure emptiness, pure awareness is never changing. But the ever-changing is not a mistake. It's a marriage of emptiness and form. It's a dance. And when I had the realization, I saw that this life is like a big thematic park. And you can try any roller coaster, any ride, any flavor. And when you start to live in joy, love, and peace, you still want to flavor things. It's not like blended and it's the same energy of silence and peace. There are still movement. So it's not like dying. You could say it's like rebirthing. As your smallness, your contraction of consciousness contracting in smallness start to dissolve, your character start to grow and express in life. This avatar that you have, it has a purpose. It's here for an unfolding of a purpose, and your true purpose start to unfold when you step out of the false sense of separation. When the false sense of separation start to dissolve more in love, in the love of receiving the vulnerable self, the vulnerable energy, this start to rest, and there is more of a possibility to live from intuition, to receive abundance. But to receive abundance, you have to be able to receive the bow in the heart, even if it hurts. If someone gives you a clear reflection and it hurts, you have the power to sit with the pain. and allow the pain to have a voice and to say, what would it say, this pain, if it could speak? Maybe it would say, it's not fair, I'm not heard. Be that space that is hearing the pain. Be that heart space that is able to hear the pain. I hear you. Energy that feels not heard. I hear you. I'm here with you. You are whole. So you bring all these energy back home in wholeness by not rejecting them, by loving them, attending to them. And that is embodiment of realization, and it is ongoing because there is always refining, always new opportunity, new possibility, new experience in the movement of life. But if you set your compass to authenticity, self-honesty, there is no mistake. You're aligned. If you stay aligned to this, you are safe. You can allow the character and the personality to grow and express and be in life. If that's your calling, if you resonate with that. If you don't, then it's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Like every expression is valuable. There's no expression that has more truth than another. So every being is equal, and everything is valuable. Any kind of experience. Sometimes we prefer to have the veil of illusion. Sometimes it makes it more intense, and sometimes when we're done with the intensity, we want more peace, and that start to come into our awareness. Life is infinite. Okay, bye bye.